So as far as this individual on the screen, I don't know him by name or account or anything like that. I was on Facebook. I was thinking, okay, the Kendrick stuff and all of that is done until I seen this video and it sparked a flame inside of me because dude has no idea what the he is talking about. So it's rare I do reaction videos. We're going to react to this today. Let's get into the video.
This ain't weird to y'all. Like this doesn't like.
All right, I'm about to try to keep this brief. I don't know why Drake fans pretend like they don't know what's going on, but basically, Drake is not really a rapper. He's a performance artist,
Now, this is the first place he messed up.
meaning that he gets reference tracks from other artists and performs them, and he's very good at it. He makes popular music. That's it. He just makes popular music, bro.
Now, listen, I want to say this before I get into this because I never get into my identity or who I am on here and stuff like that. I'll just say it like this. You know, I had a rap career for quite a while, and it wasn't a crazy rap career or nothing like that, but I did get booked for small money and stuff like that. I was in a group. So that's the first thing. So I actually rapped for a very long time, over a decade. I don't rap anymore. The other thing is I actually produce. I have two placements with very big artists, people who were actually mainstream and actually charted. So I need you to know that moving forward, so you know that's me qualifying myself to let you know I know this game, I know what I'm talking about. I say that to say he just pulled that shit out of his ass. What the fuck is a performance artist? A performance artist is not a phrase anybody says in the industry. I've never heard anybody say this shit ever. Why? Because it doesn't fucking exist. It doesn't exist. There is no way to identify someone that does what he just mentioned is anything other than an artist. If you look at singers like Usher or whoever, yeah, they have songwriters. They have songwriters. They have producers. And guess what? You don't call Usher a performance artist or anything like that. You don't call Beyonce a performance artist. You don't call them that. You just call them artists. And that's in R&B. And guess what? That's in every other genre of music. There are people who are actually songwriters, and the other people who make the music and say the lyrics are just artists. It's not no performing artist. That's not even a fucking thing. Even when you look into what a performance art, if you go and look up performance art or performance artist, it's a bunch of weird shit. I'm not even about to unpack that because there is such thing as a performance artist, and it's a bunch of weird shit. Even if you look at what a performance artist is musically, that's some whole other shit versus what he's talking about. That's not what that is. So he's just making up shit as he goes. Now, if we just take away the term, because the term is just some shit he pulled out of his ass. Saying he just makes popular music, I'm not even gonna get into that or unpack that because like how is that a bad thing or how is that like different than what most rappers do? Like what are we even talking about? Like if you're a mainstream artist, even Kendrick, that N95 shit, that's popular music. Like what are we talking about? He got on a trap beat. He had, cadences that were very repetitive and things like that so that he could make a hit. Like that's popular music. So like let's not get into this like, oh, Drake just makes popular music and nobody else in rap makes so let's just put that to the side. Drake is not a rapper. That is extremely fucking disingenuous. Like you could say he's not a good rapper. You could say whatever opinion you have about him as a rapper, but to say he's not a rapper is absolutely ludicrous when he has a bunch of crazy verses throughout his career. Like that's a ridiculous statement. Like I don't even have to unpack that. You would have to be somebody who is either not a Drake fan or you're just a fucking hater. You don't even got to be a Kendrick fan. You either got to be one of those two things. You got to either be not a Drake fan or a hater to think that he is not a rapper at all. Now, as far as the reference tracks, let's just talk about those very briefly. even as I'm doing this, like, there's probably going to be more reference tracks to leak. What I've been waiting for, personally, is a reference track to something where Drake was actually rapping and there was no harmonizing or anything like that. And I'm talking about the songs where you look at and it's like not no jiggy shit, some shit where he really spitting, like some Western Road Flows type shit, like something like that, like Tuscan Leather, some shit like that. If somebody, even then, that's that's one of them ones. So that's what I'm waiting for personally. But it is a fact. It is a fact that Drake gets a lot of his songs written, and guess what? It's not a secret. These people who the leaks are coming out for, they are all credited on these songs. They're credited on these songs, and this is the thing that people miss. These guys are singing in most of it. Like Quentin Miller, he was like, he was rapping. I'm not gonna be disingenuous about this. Quentin Miller was rapping, even though he was holding a harmony. What he was doing was more rapping than what Cash Cobain and Vori did, and even Party Next Door. That's a singing. The Ratchet Happy Birthday song in the leak, as far as the reference, singers have songwriters. That's like, it is what it is with that. The Quentin Miller thing, that's some real shit, because Quentin Miller wrote Rico. Quentin Miller wrote Rico. That was a song where Drake was rapping and he was spitting. There was a reference track for that. So that is something you could hold as an indictment against Drake. All of these other leaks, it's like, bro, I don't care about none of that. That's me personally, because those aren't really raps. Those are singing songs. So with that being said, we get that out the way. Dude has no fucking idea what he is talking about. The only thing that's valid is that Drake gets reference tracks. That's it. That's it. Performing artist, that's a bullshit term. Him not being a rapper, that's bullshit. Popular music, how is that an indictment against Drake? And how do you think Kendrick doesn't do the same thing when Kendrick made fucking swimming pools? What are we talking about? The Kendrick was on a Maroon 5 track. What the fuck are we talking about?
Kendrick is a hip hop artist. He's a rapper. So he's making music for a smaller demographic than Drake. Drake's demographic is the whole world. Kendrick's demographic is really just people who like hip hop. So regularly, Drake gets more views. Duh.
That part of the take I don't disagree with, but that doesn't help us understand why this is going on as far as what this whole thing is about. So let me read this to you very quickly in case you didn't pause the video. Kendrick Lamar's back catalog was up 49% to 50.62 million streams this weekend following the beef. So Kendrick's streams went up during the beef. Drake's back catalog is down 5% of what it usually does to 100.69 million streams, and this report is via Billboard. So him saying Kendrick streams less and has a lower demographic, that doesn't help us figure out why this shit is the way it is. I'll get into my opinion at the end, but let's listen to how he fleshes this out.
We're not listening to Kendrick Lamar because we hate Drake. Drake isn't the only reason that we're blasting Kendrick Lamar.
I agree with this as well. They are not listening to Kendrick because they hate Drake. They like Kendrick, but we'll say this, we just got to point this out. The amount of dislikes, the insane amount, hundreds of thousands of dislikes on multiple Drake disses, definitely it shows. The niggas are putting those thumbs down because niggas hate Drake. That is a concentrated effort. That is something that cannot be denied. And this is the thing I want to make clear, because I've said this in other videos. Just because there are a lot of thumbs down, that doesn't mean that all those thumbs down are from Kendrick fans. Some people who are putting those thumbs down, I guarantee you, they don't even listen to Kendrick. They don't even like Kendrick. They're not big fans of Kendrick. There are people who really, really hate Drake, who really were just happy to see this beef happen and happy to see somebody get off on him. And they really don't care about Kendrick. They really hate Drake. And this is a fucking fantastic opportunity to get that hate off. But let's continue.
Kendrick Lamar is such a good lyricist that we have to analyze his lyrics. If you listen to music for fun, then you'll probably listen to a song about 2 or 3 times and then get tired of it, even if you really like the song. But if you're studying somebody's lyrics, you're going to listen to the song well over 10, 11, maybe even 12 times before you actually understand every single bar. So what you're getting is a big fan base, not the biggest fan base because Drake's fan base is bigger, but a very large fan base studying their favorite artists' music. Or one of their favorites, or just people who are willing to tolerate it. You know what I'm saying? They're studying his music. That's why he's getting all the views, because we're studying it. You have to study Kendrick Lamar's music. You don't have to study Drake's music. Maybe if Drake was dissing better, we'd be sitting around trying to figure out his lyrics.
No, I'm not gonna lie. This is the dumbest fucking shit I have heard in the past 2 months. This is the dumbest shit I've heard in the past 2 months. Now, I want to be clear. I'm not saying this dude is dumb, but he said some dumbass shit. So we're going to go through this whole thing. The first thing I'm going to say, I will say this, man. I don't know, dude. He's talking about listening to music for fun and studying and stuff like that. Is somebody who really, like, is ingrained in music and stuff like that. You know, I vibe to music and stuff like that, but there are times where I don't listen to music like regular people. And I always wondered, like, how people that don't rap listen to music and things like that. And I'll tell you something. Being that I know the craft, being that I know the skill set, and people like him who I know he probably has never written a Fire 16. And even then, I'm sure he just don't know this music shit that deep. I know he doesn't. Like, how did, like, and this is the thing, when I have conversations with regular people about why J. Cole is this or why Kendrick is that or what's good about Drake, what's bad about Drake, like, they can't have the conversation unless they rap from the same standpoint that I have. And when I say rap, I don't mean like, oh man, he just make jiggy shit. I'm talking about somebody who has the capability to be called a lyricist to some degree. So with that being said, let's just get this out the way. Let's just get this out the way. You don't have a 50% increase in fucking streams because the same set of people who already were listening to your shit want to study your music. That is like the majority of people do not study music at all. Hey, let me tell you something else. I actually teach music. I teach music. I teach it. I teach music theory. So I know from being somebody who actually does this, even on YouTube, that the audience for that type of shit, just the audience to understand music on an intellectual level to any degree, is not a big audience. And even when people are studying things that can actually make them better musicians, they don't study this shit. They don't watch the video or the lesson 18 times. People listen to music because they like to feel. That's the first thing. When you look at the top selling music of all time, most of them are going to be singing songs and most of them are going to be about love, even if it's from a rock group. That's what it's going to go and look at the top selling artists of all time and then go look at the top selling music of all time, or you know, what you call it, albums and things of that nature, songs, all that shit. I would say albums because that's like the better one. And most of them are going to be from artists who sing about love and most of their content and stuff like that. Because at the end of the day, people want to feel when they listen to music. This is the thing. Kendrick is a lyrical artist. Kendrick is somebody who is a top tier lyricist. But when it comes down to it, Kendrick would be fucking Mick Jenkins. Or Kendrick would be fucking Immortal Technique. If he didn't know how to connect this shit to make people feel something. Section 80, all the way to his latest shit, the Big Stepper, every one of those albums make you feel something. And they're geared to make you feel. So at the end of the day, you could act like, man, we got to go back and dissect. Because that's what people like to do. People like to romanticize how lyrical Kendrick is. The majority of people are not studying no fucking lyrics, man. They not. The majority of people are not studying lyrics, man. That's just point blank. Let's just get that out the way. Any artist doesn't double their streams, 50 million streams, just because people want to study their music. No, it's not even complex, bro. People like the music. Kendrick has a good catalog. This is promotion. This whole beef is promotion. People wanted to go back and they were compelled to listen to his shit. I'll get to my whole point about Drake at the end later. But listen, that's the first thing as far as studying the music. That's fucking asinine and ridiculous to think 50 fucking million streams are coming from a small fan base. When you have somebody like fucking Seth Rogen and all these other comedians and stuff like that explaining this shit to white people. He explained that shit to a crowd of people. And it's just like, bro, you could tell these aren't like tremendous hip hop fans who are into this shit right now. So that's another thing about it. A lot of people are actually discovering some of Kendrick's old catalog and stuff like that. So just to think, oh man, it's the same fucking Twitter dweebs who fucking, let's study the lyrics that we already studied because we like to study lyrics. Come on, man, stop it, man. Bro, the percentage of people who are studying lyrics out of that 50 million streams, I guarantee you it's a very tiny percentage. I guarantee you that. There's no way to prove that, but I could guarantee it. I could guarantee it. If you just go out and say, fuck what I'm talking about, and then ask people, when you listen to music, what do you listen to it for? Most people are not going to say, oh man, the lyrics, I listen to study the lyrics. That's not what most people are going to say, bro. But anyways, let's get past that point. Let's actually go a little bit deeper, and I'm not going to get too deep on this, but the whole, you have to study Kendrick's bars. You have to. It's absolutely mandatory, necessary, so you can understand every bar. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. Listen, I'm going to tell you some real shit. I'm not even going to go deep. If you go and listen to a song like Lupe Fiasco Samurai, something he just let out, you will listen to that and you will be like, what the fuck is he talking about? Because the way Lupe structures his bars and his sentences and stuff like that, and his metaphors and things like that, and even from a conceptual standpoint, it just be so complex to where it's like, bro, this doesn't connect to this. And what is he even talking about? What is the metaphor of this song? And what some of the bars you'll just miss or they'll go over your head. Lupe has a lot of shit like that in his catalog to where, and this is what I tell people, and a few people have theories about this and stuff like that. Cassidy has a theory similar to this, but when you are doing this extra complex rap shit, you're actually going to be communicating to a much smaller set of people. Because most people aren't going to get it. Most people aren't going to try and get it. And even then, as a music listener, how can you connect to something you don't understand? People don't listen to music to think. The majority of people do not listen to music to think. I already went over they listen to it to feel, but that's something that we got to get out the way. And that's how come the studying shit is so funny to me. Because people do not listen to music to think. And that's as far as the majority. So I say that to say, people like to make it sound like or seem like Kendrick and Cole are the most complex rappers. We won't even get into Cole. Kendrick, what he does is he will do a lot of conceptual stuff. Typically, and this is the thing about most of it, and this is just the honest truth. Most of the stuff, he is not speaking in riddles. He is not wording it in a weird way like Lupe Fiasco and stuff like that. You get it as soon as it comes out of his mouth with most of his bars. There may be a few here and there where it's like, I got to dig deeper. But what I'm saying is, as far as the lyrics, face value, you hear them and it is what it is. Now, the thing is, I'm not disingenuous. I'm not going to sit here and say that Drake shit is just complex and you got it. No, no, no. Drake is even more where what you see is what you get. Is the face value and stuff like that. The thing about both of them, though, is that when it comes to punchlines and things of that nature, they may have a good double entendre here and there. I don't know about a triple, but that's what it is. When you listen to that, I mean, you just got to think about it, man. Like, be honest with yourself. This cat, when you get into a diss battle, that is supposed to be the pinnacle of what you can do lyrically. That's supposed to be the pinnacle. What part of the Drake and this is the thing, he said, oh, the Drake is a, I'm not going to lie to you. There were some things in the Drake diss that I had to hear a few times to get as far as, dropping Give Me 50 or whatever, the push-ups. For example, the Pluto line in Chip and Dale or whatever that shit was, I didn't know that reference. So, of course, that's going to go over my head. And that doesn't make it extremely complex, but it's one of those references that it's not going to be in my Rolodex. But when you look at it, it's good. Future calls himself Pluto. This nigga is talking about Pluto the dog from, the Disney shit or whatever. So that's not a crazy line at all. It's not. I just didn't get the reference. So with that being said, again, being that it's not a crazy line and that I didn't get the reference, again, everything for the most part is understood at face value from both of these rappers. These are good lyrical rappers. They are not the most complex. So with all of that being said, because this is getting long, I'm going to get into what I think as far as this increase and decrease. Kendrick, Not Like Us, is a smash hit. So that's number one. It's a smash hit. When you look at this, that solidified his win in the beef. If we're going to be honest, if we're going to be real about this, that song solidified his W. I'm somebody who thought it was even up to that point. I didn't even believe that song was the one. You can go back and listen to the videos and stuff like that. But once it hit the charts, once it was number one, once it was going crazy, once we had a bunch of chicken wing arm fucking crip walking going on and shit, I was like, oh, the Drake track is not doing this. So this takes it to another level. So he won with that track, but that track is wildly popular. So that's number one. Number two, this is, I'm not going to lie to you, this has to be the biggest rap beef of all time. These are two titans in a digital era. Rap is the most popular genre. It's sinking a little bit, but it's the most popular genre. And these are two titans going at it. This is global news. This is global news. People in London are going into the OVO stores playing Not Like Us. So when you look at it, this is insane publicity. Remember what he mentioned that I agreed with? Drake has a wider reach and his shit is global. When it comes to Kendrick, his reach is not like that. And I'll tell you why. Kendrick doesn't have a passion fruit. Kendrick is not a singer. Kendrick doesn't have a hotline bling. Kendrick is not going to the UK and rapping with the UK rappers. He's not doing Afro beats. He's not doing XYZ. And the Maroon 5 features and all that stopped in the 2010s, mid 2010s. So with all of that being said, as far as Kendrick, now this is giving him that global reach because, okay, you're beefing with the global guy. And in the States, they pretty much saying you beat the global guy. And this is a hit. So like, this is going to expose him to that much more people. And now some of those people globally are going to be curious about his catalog. So you also have that. And I don't really think I need to go past those two things. So the fact that he has Not Like Us, which won the beef, and the fact that he's beefing with the global dude, and this is global news, global publicity and stuff like that, it makes people want to go into his back catalog who never really gave him a chance. Some of them who may used to listen to him, but put him down. It was like, I'm done with him. That's what's going on. It's really, if I just had to make it one word, it's the publicity that this is bringing. That's why it's giving him more. Now, why have Drake's numbers went down 5%? Well, this is the first thing. Like, Drake, he's still at 100 million. He's still at 100 million streams. So that's still quite a tremendous amount of streams. Him and Kendrick are basically eclipsing each other at this point. So one thing that you can say is there is some overlap between him and Kendrick, especially because of this situation. So some people who like both of them are probably listening to it just a little bit. I'm not going to say the whole 5%, but just a little bit. They listening to a little more Kendrick than they're listening to Drake. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, because a lot of people like to get, oh, you a Drake fan, you a Drake. Listen, Drake lost. Drake lost. So the fact Drake lost, who really like who wants to listen to the Loser's back catalog? I hate to say it like that, but that's what it is. He's still at 100 million, but if this guy over here is winning and you don't have a dog in this fight and you're not a stan, you're going to go and see what Kendrick is about. That's just what it is. So that's number 2. And number 3, this is very important. The move that Kendrick made by making Not Like Us to match what Drake did on, Family Matters as far as the first part, that was a brilliant move. I didn't think that track was shit. Y'all motherfuckers really be, oh, you a Drake stan, you a Drake stan. No. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I am unbiased, and I can admit what's real. Some people can't. I didn't, bruh. And this is the thing when people say shit like that. I didn't like push-ups when it first dropped. So it's like, y'all got the wrong guy. But I know what it is when it comes to that. People is really just dick eaters themselves and they project. That's what that is. So when you look at that, Drake made Family Matters. Drake put that whole day, that shit, that day free could have possibly went in the club and all that. But this is the issue with that track. He never broke the track up into individual tracks that people can go and listen to. So when it comes down to playing that, they got to play that shit, and it's going to end with the gunshots and go into the UK shit that niggas don't really fuck with in the club out here. In the last track on that joint, the New Ho King, Kendrick just opened his mouth. That's a good track, but they're not playing that in the club either. That's not going to be a hit either. So the one piece that Drake had to make a hit is attached to 2 other tracks that could never be hits. That could never be what Like Us is. So that kind of complicates it as far as Family Matters getting played in certain places and just pushing Family Matters. But I'll give you the 4th thing, and this is real, and this plays into the winning and stuff like that with the Like Us. And this is this is one of the reasons why that track that I just mentioned, Family Matters, wasn't as potent. And I just got to keep it real with you, man. Like, I'm not going to say Toronto and Canada have no culture, but in America, we don't care about their culture, but also they don't have a strong culture as far as what they have going on. Those are just facts. They don't have a signature sound to where it's like, this is the Toronto sound, not the Drake sound, but the Toronto sound. They don't have culture that people in the States or anywhere else really want to emulate. And when it comes to even the support, what does the support look like from Toronto? As far as the streets and just as the artists and stuff like that, yeah, we see Top 5 putting out memes and stuff like that, or look like little tweets and stuff. But when it comes to Kendrick, we know the whole culture of the Blood and the Crips and stuff like that. We know that. We know that LA, you can't wear your hat here. You can't wear, ooh, man, don't be a baseball fan in LA. Who's scary. Ooh, we know that. But guess what they did? The West Coast culture is so rich. It's so rich. And LA is the capital of West Coast culture as far as rap is concerned. Them niggas was fucking chicken arm winging and twisting their legs, twisting their fingers, fucking hopping around. And just every rapper who got a chance that wasn't the game, they were fucking championing the Kendrick shit. That's what they were doing. That's what they were doing. So not only is the culture there, but the support is there for Kendrick. Toronto does not have culture that is comparable to any. They don't even have a culture that you could compare to Memphis or Florida, to where there's anything that we pull from it or anything that anybody could pull from it that would be other than fam. That's it, Crody. Those are the only things you could pull from it. It's not this no, they not the tastemakers. That's just what it is. So with that being said, like when you look at all those things, that's why Kendrick is up. That's why Drake took a small hit on that little 5%, that little teeny tiny 5%. That's what it is. I respect dude for trying to keep it short because he's on TikTok and you see I just hit you with a 30-something minute video. But listen, what I just gave you is all rational. Of course, some of you is going to debate with it in the comments, but guess what? A lot of y'all debate with a lot of stuff in the comments and it don't come from a rational place. It comes from an emotional place. And that's just what it is. So with that being said, I'm done. Y'all have a good day.